Hello, this is Richard Ellis with Revenue Innovations, and I'm here to bring you a few practical tips in just a few minutes. The topic we're talking about today is engineering the right sales process. We've all seen the problems of a poorly engineered sales process: slipped deals, poor or inaccurate forecasts, long sales cycles, and low win rates. So, how do we address that? Well, there are three things that we all need to keep in mind when defining and engineering the sales process for our sales teams. The first tip is to make sure that the number of stages are appropriate for what you're selling and the types of buying process that you go through with your clients. There's one customer in particular that comes to mind. When I showed up, they had 13 sales stages. So what's wrong with 13 sales stages? Well, as you can imagine, CRM was never updated because it basically required the sellers to move a deal from stage to stage after every meeting or every phone call or every movement, and that was just too much. Many of our clients will have too few sales stages. One in particular I was working with last year had just 3 sales stages before closing out that transaction. And the problem with that is it doesn't provide enough guidance to the team nor visibility to management or the business in terms of where that deal is in the selling process. So what we found is there's no one magic number, but you want a reasonable number of stages, and that tends to look like 5 to 7 stages. So now that we have an appropriate number of stages, tip number 2 is to make sure that the names of the stages and the spirit of those stages are aligned to your buyer's journey and how you engage your buyers through that selling process. So if it's heavy on discovery and collaboration early in the sales cycle, you'll want to make sure your stages call that out. If there's some visioning workshops or some solutioning workshops around designing the right solution after diagnosis and discovery, you'll want to make sure that your selling process appropriately calls that out. And then finally, tip number 3 is to make sure that now that we've got the right number of stages, they're designed to align to the buyer's journey. We want to make sure that each stage has clear milestones that are objective, not subjective, so that we can drive guidance to our sales team and align resources, tools, and activities to accomplish those milestones stage by stage. And an extra tip here for you there is we want to make sure that these milestones are based on what the customer has done, said, validated. So that gives us more guidance into where they are in their decision-making process. And so for us, we tend to call those verified buyer actions. So what has the buyer done or indicated? That is a milestone that either we've accomplished or we haven't. And based on that, we know where we are from stage to stage in that selling journey. So just a quick recap, the 3 tips for designing the right sales process for you that increases win rates, increases forecast accuracy is right number of stages, stages that are aligned to the buyer's journey, and milestones or gated stages to bring clarity on what needs to happen stage to stage. So hopefully you found this helpful. If you're like me and you do better work with others and you want to collaborate, then just reach out or schedule a call. I'd love to discuss more with you.